Oh, look at this legend. Yeah, good bloke. Oh, what a flog. Ladies and gentlemen, milkmaids and mermaids, welcome back to another episode of The Fresh Crit from Bel Air. The name is still a work in progress. You're here with Big Crit, and here we are to commentate with down at the Hawthorn Cycling Club at the Teardrop Crit. So, awesome weather. It was the 17th of March, so by the time this gets put up a couple of weeks ago, it was awesome weather. It seems like a few of the riders got pretty excited with that. As you can see, a rider launches off the front here. It's pretty early in the race, only 5th lap in of 26, just over 4.5 Ks in for that sort of shenanigans, but good on him for giving it a crack. So a couple of important mentions in this race. So, about to roll over me in the Knights of Suburbia kit is Andrew, who, spoiler alert, does pick up a 3rd place in this race, I believe. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm only going off the stuff on the Facebook page with Hawthorn. So, look, this race, I made a hell of a lot of mistakes. I'm going to be highlighting those in a fair bit of detail so you can all maybe give me advice or, better yet, learn from my mistakes and do better next time. One of those being my absolute lack of a racing line in that bottom corner, and that's going to be highlighted. Every time I go around there, I lose bike links, so we're going to have a look at that today. I didn't contest the sprint in this race, so I'm going to highlight the guys that did, just so you can watch their positioning in the last 3 laps. So throughout this clip, we'll look at that, and yeah, it should be a really good one. So let's get stuck into a bit of racing and see how we get on. Okay, so we're only a few laps in, and we've got Kerry in front of me at the moment in the Tom's Coffee kit with the blue kit here. And in my limited experience of racing down here at Hawthorn in B grade, I found that, and I could be wrong, but Kerry probably takes this corner the quickest out of everyone. You can see here, just even in that short moment, there's about 4 bike lengths. Yes, he sprinted out of the corner, but because he's hitting that racing line with speed and has really strong bike handling skills, that sort of effort, like I kicked up to 1,000 watts just to catch up to them. That's effort he's not having to do because he's taken that corner so much better. So when you're on the race course, have a bit of a watch at some of the guys that take that corner well. I've noticed Kerry, bit of a shout out, that he does take that line really, really well. So I'm trying to emulate that. So we're going to watch a few more riders take that corner. And we can really see what does work and where you need to start and where you need to hit that apex. Okay, again, only a few more laps in. We've got Matty off the front here in the 102 in the Cycles Galleria kit. And here's another example of poor line choice. He cuts in early, hits that apex. I'm nowhere near it, having to spike up to another 1,000 watts. And look at the gap that's opened up in front of me. That repeat effort that I'm having to do every time to catch up with the wheels to the front is just sapping my reserves. So what we'll do is we'll go back, we'll go through that corner nice and slow and freeze at the important parts and break it down and check it out where we can improve. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of time just to talk about this bottom corner. So we've got Matt in front. The first thing we're looking at is the apex. You look where you want to go. So you really want to be fixating your eyes on that apex of the corner where the arrow is. Now we're going to hold it here for a second. Unfortunately, in the apex, there is a bit of dirt, a bit of sand, a bit of runoff from the rain that we've had in the weeks prior. Now that's always looks sketchy when you're riding on the road, but I've yet to see anybody wash out a front wheel there. Yes, you're always wanting to avoid it. That's in the apex of the turn, but that's not the only thing you got to contend with here at Hawthorn. Here, check this. To make things just that extra little bit difficult, the road is off camber. This means that the road is sloping downhill. So on a corner like this, you would actually prefer the corner to be, I guess, level or at least cambered up like the arrow is pointing now, so that your tyres have a bit of traction coming around the corner. But unfortunately, that's not the case. The road is off camber, which means you need to be really mindful of not clipping a pedal coming out of the corner, but also how far you're leaning that bike over. The more you lean it over on an off-camber road, the more traction you can lose because there's going to be less part of the tyre on the actual road surface. So all these things contribute to making this corner such a technical one to take, but you take it 24 times each time you do a race down at Hawthorn, so you do get your practice to take it. My advice is to sit where these kids are, in the top left corner of the frame here, and just watch other riders come through that corner, and you'll get a really good sense of the best racing line, which will allow you to take up places and conserve energy in the bike race, which is exactly as Matt and the other boys do in this part of the race, as they put a few bike lengths into me, which I then have to make up later on. Anyway, so that's just a bit of a breakdown of the corner. I hope you enjoyed that. But let's get stuck back into the racing and see how the rest of it plans out. Yeah, it doesn't take long for me to get bored once again. As we're coming into the top of the hill, I launch out to the left to try to get some separation of Richard behind me, but unfortunately he's pretty quick to jump onto that, and clearly not enough watts to get any sort of gap there. So Richard again is able to jump onto the back of my wheel, catch the draft and stay out of the wind. And it's worth noting that Richard actually comes second in this race, and he does that purely by staying on the front. Yes, the downside of that is you're going to have to eat a little bit of wind, but if you're smart about it and you can surf wheels, it allows you to keep out of the wind, keep reserving that energy, which are all the things that contribute to contesting the sprint at the end of the race. Okay, so we're on lap 14, coming up to 14 Ks in. Legs felt okay, so I swing out over to the left here to shake anybody out of my draft. You could see Andrew that was sitting on the rear wheel there. He ends up coming in third position in this race, so always near the front. But as you can see, as I cut into this corner, I miss the apex, which allows Richard just to mosey on up onto my rear wheel again, not having to do any work, and once again gets another sit in my draft. So it's my inability to get around that corner effectively is really costing me watts every time we surge up this hill. So now I'm just sitting in the wind for absolutely no reason, towing the group along and wasting energy, which is not ideal, as the group swarms over the top of me, and we all go again. All right. We'll pick this up with 3 laps left. We currently have Tommy the Jet Butler sitting on the front here on the Cycle House kit. He's always going to be up near the front, so he's another good rider to keep an eye on. As you can see here on my left hip, just behind me, not Matty, just behind me in the white and blue kit here, that's Richard. Comes second this race, and on the green bike in the KOS kit, who's just a few wheels behind, we've got Andrew there. So these are the guys that are all going to be contesting the sprint at the end, and it's by no luck that these are the guys that are always seen at the front of the race, especially with 3 laps to go. You rarely want to be trying to make up places from the back of the field. Yes, with 3 laps to go, you do have some time left, but that's energy that you're going to be wasting trying to get up and putting big surges in to get to the front. So we're coming into the bottom corner here. We've got Matt up the front, and Richard is second wheel. I'm third. We've already discussed it, but once again, I'm losing wheels around that corner and having to make them up on this on the uphill climb. I decide it's a good idea to launch a bit of an attack, so once again I swing out right. I can't really get much of a separation. The legs aren't feeling too flash, and my heart rate's spiking. So with 2 laps to go, I'm still not too sure what I was thinking. Must have been a bit of a blood rush to the head. But now I'm sitting at the front, pushing, barely pushing 250 watts. My heart rate's at 191 beats per minute. I'm maxing out when I really should be trying to recover if I'm any chance at contesting the sprint. However, I'm fortunate enough for Tommy to come around the front so I can get a little bit of a sit. The pace is still quite high, and Richard is still sitting out of the wind with Matt just behind my wheel. In the rear cam, you can see all the group starting to swarm, and that's because the pace drops and people want to find position. So here comes another attack. Boom, off the front they go. Richard in second wheel, and right in front of me now, that's Derek. He comes first in this race. So like I'll say later, white shoes, white socks with tats. Keep an eye out for him because he comes first, and it's the moves that he puts in now is where he is the reason he comes first, is they come around that bottom corner and boom, they're straight onto the pedals and already created some separation. So with my heart rate at 190, I can't really offer too much. I'm maxing out right now when I really should have never have launched that attack and been recovering instead. But we're rolling into the last lap, so let's pick it up from there. All right, so last lap, let the last lap shenanigans begin. So a couple of people to note, in the white socks just in front of the green bike there, that's Derek. He's the one that wins the race. White socks, white shoes, remember that one. Just in front of me on the green bike, that's Andrew. And obviously you can't forget Kerry, who I pumped his tyres up earlier with his epic handling skills. These are the guys you need to watch as we come into the final parts of this race. You can see there Richard in the blue Nicks, white and blue jersey up the front now sprinting. He finishes in second, so you can already see if you want to place highly down at Hawthorn, you've really got to be doing work on this back straight so you get yourself in a good position rounding that bottom corner. So right now I've found myself extremely boxed in with zero exit strategy. It's not where I want to be as Kerry moves up the road, and he's on the inside of this corner now, but takes that perfect racing line as he already is on the pedals sprinting up. He's about third position now. We've got Andrew coming across here. He's quite far back, but he's sitting in a draft and he's still got a lot of work left in his legs to do. I'm trying to make my way to the front, but unfortunately get squeezed by Andrew and Tate. Have to slam on the brakes. I can't really make any sort of a run to the finish and ended up finishing 7th, I think. It was an awesome race. The guys that won were sitting at the front, doing all the work, doing all the right things throughout the race, and it was, it was a bit of a disappointing finish for myself, but congratulations on the guys that won. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button. And if you want to see more of this, please subscribe to the channel. That's the only way to keep updated. I try to tag everyone in Strava, but it doesn't reach everyone. If you do see your mates in the vid, make sure you share the link and get them involved. If you see yourself riding or you want to see some different sort of stuff, or if you've got your own footage, chuck something in the comments below. I like hearing from everyone. It's fantastic. But this is... unfortunately, there's only a few more races left in the season. So we've got a couple more Hawthorns to do. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you next week. Ciao.